Hi, today I wanted us to look at how you register your domain and hosting with Safaricom. The reason I always tell clients that it's very important for you to register yourself is because if I register or if some other designer registers for you, the domain is now in their name. That digital asset called a domain name belongs to them. And so what I always tell clients is learn the process of how you register, and it's very simple, very straightforward. In fact, within less than 5 minutes, sitting at your desk, you can easily register your domain, pay with M-Pesa, and you're done with the whole process. So it's a very simple process, and it's very important that you register in your name. Don't have an employee do this for you, because this is an asset that is going to be registered in their name. Like, would you buy a car and then tell your employee to go and register with their own ID card, and have their name on the logbook? No, you will not. So the same goes with your website. It's your own digital asset and you want it in your name all the time. So I'm going to walk you through the process. It's very simple. So for instance, what you do first is you go to the domain. As you can see up here, you just simply type in domains.safaricom.co.ke. That's all you do. So once you type, you'll come to this website. And here you can just enter your domain name. Let's, for instance, call ours example. So here you can pick the kind of domain you want. Do you want it to be, let me change this to your company name. You could decide to register as a .co.ke or any of these options up here. But the most common ones obviously are .co.ke as well as .org and also .com. You will also have .net as well. And you also have all these other options as well. Like if you are an organization, an NGO, you would go with a .org or a .or.ke if you want to be perceived as being based in Kenya and you're also an organization. For companies, it's simply .co.ke and also .com. I have no clue why they launched the .ke domain. It's much shorter. It's probably a shorter form of like .co as well. But those are not very popular as at right now. So the ones that are more popular, the ones that make more sense, especially if you're a company, is either .co.ke or .com. If you're an organization, an NGO, you could go with .org or .or.ke. There are also other options which we are not able to see here because, so for instance, if you're a school, you might have .sc.ke, which can also use to register your school. But in those particular cases, you also have to submit your registration document from Ministry of Education as well. And I'm guessing maybe that's why they're not here, because those ones you may need to contact Safaricom directly, I believe. You'll have to contact Safaricom to find out more. So assuming you've decided to go with, say, a .co.ke, you'll just simply come in and do a search. And on the next page, you'll see they have put everything for us, but they also require us to enter a security code. So we'll just type what you're seeing here in here. So WPD52, and then click search again. And you can see here, it says that the domain name is available. Now, if you find your domain name is not available, it might mean you go back and adjust the name you've picked because somebody else has already registered that name and you cannot be able to register it. So what you do is you simply come here, you change the name, you modify it. You can also decide to modify this maybe from a .whatever to maybe a .com. So that will simply depend on you. So in this particular case, since ours is already available, we are good. So what you do is you come here and you click add to cart. Okay. Then what you do next is you scroll down and you'll see this section which says add web hosting. Remember, what we've just done is we have just registered a domain name. Now we want to register a hosting package. So hosting is basically where your website is going to live. The website has to be contained somewhere in a computer. So this computer is what we call a server. So in this particular case, we have to attach a computer to, it's like basically the domain name is a license plate on the car, and now we're actually getting the car. But in this case, we rent the car, we don't buy it. So we rent it for a very cheap fee annually. So, and as the same thing also applies to the domain name, you'll be paying for it annually. So you can come down here and you can easily see the different packages they have. So in this particular case, what happens is you can easily pick the size you want. So you can actually pick either, depending on the size of your website. If your website happens to be pretty big, you can pick a big space. So most websites, however, they just tend to occupy maybe about a GB, 1 GB or less. But sometimes, especially with the amount of photos going into websites, you might find it's even bigger than that. So just to be safe, I always recommend just pick about 10 GB. That's generally going to be okay. 10 GB going upwards. So in this particular case, we could decide to pick, let's say, either this one, and also you notice the number of emails you're going to get. So the other thing that also comes with the hosting is the emails that your company is going to have on that server as well. So in this particular case with Safaricom, they have packaged their stuff with, in terms of like the space you're getting on the server, so for the website itself, as well as the emails, and then also how many email accounts you can be able to get. Now, for most people, 200 emails is enough, but if you feel you need more, pick a different package as well. So in this particular case, just pick the package that works that works best for you. Now, what I find is this one for 5,000 shillings is generally okay for most situations, for most people. Unless you need more stuff, more emails, or more space on the server, basically you can pick a bigger package for that. Now, if you want to know what things like subdomains, these don't really matter so much to the average user. But to someone who also wants to set up other web application systems or other domains on their websites, this can matter. Now, 200 is obviously a lot. For instance, if you look at our domain here, Safaricom's website is safaricom.co.ke, but they have a different website, which is called domains.safaricom.co.ke, which deals with all this website hosting and email hosting business. So they've put that on a different subdomain. That's what is basically a subdomain. So you'll recognize a subdomain simply because you'll see a name, a dot, and then your domain name. So this doesn't really matter so much to most people as well. Now, things like FTP accounts as well, don't worry about this. These mostly matter to the person you might decide to give access to your website in the future. But for now, don't worry about it. So you can simply come down here, click the package you want, and then already it will recognize the name that's in your shopping cart, the one we've already picked. If you had added other names, it will actually show you multiple names as well. So you'll just simply pick the one you want and then click use. In this case, we don't need to do anything more except click use. So once you've done that, it will bring you to this page and you'll see your order summary, 5,000 shillings, and you're good. You'll click continue. On the last page, you'll now see that it has put together both packages. This is a hosting package and this is a domain registration package. So from here, you can see your total is 6,300 shillings. And remember, once again, this is 6,300 shillings for this first year. You will be paying and renewing this thing every year. So it's going to be 6,300 shillings per year that you will be paying Safaricom. But don't worry, Safaricom will also be sending you an email to notify you. I believe they maybe send it maybe 60 days to or 30 days to. They'll send you multiple reminders just to alert you that your domain will be renewing at a certain time. So once you've already done all that, you can just come back to this particular page and fill all the details: first name, last name, email, phone. The rest of this is mostly optional, but you can, like, you don't really need to put your company name, but you can if you want to. Your street address, and also your city, all that stuff. Most of this is not necessary, but you can just quickly check and see. For instance, we can just click on this just to see if, so we can see all the mandatory fields here. So we just need to enter our address, the city, the state, the phone number, and the password. All this will be necessary to help you to log in into your website as well. So that's it. So once you're done finishing up with this, select that you want to pay through M-Pesa. So either M-Pesa Pay Bill or M-Pesa STK Push, which means your phone has to be on, so that when you click on complete the order, you'll see the M-Pesa thing pop up on your phone and you can enter your payment, or you can simply use M-Pesa Pay Bill so that you send the money directly to their pay bill number, depending on what it is they're going to show you on the next page. So that's all you do. Now, once you've completed your order, you'll be given a cPanel email from Safaricom, which is normally sent automatically to you. If they do not send it automatically, simply send them an email and tell them to send it to you. It's very simple from here. Now, there'll be an email that they'll communicate with you right after you're done signing up. So that's the email you can simply communicate them on or with. Now, whenever you're done, once you're done with this process, you can also come to the client login area. And this is actually where you can be able to come in and log in into your website and access everything. So once you log in into the backend interface, this is what you simply get. You'll be able to see that you have a service, which is basically your hosting as well as your domain. If you have any issues, simply click on the tickets section on your website and send a support ticket to Safaricom if you have any issues with the hosting or any of that stuff. So you can simply come in here and click on open a ticket. And they'll ask you what it is you want. Let's, for instance, say you have an issue with the email service in the future. You're unable to receive emails. You'll simply come in here and click unable to receive emails, or if you're unable to send emails, or if you find your disk is full, meaning your website has grown so big over some time that you need more space. Or maybe you just want to inquire about your domain registration, or maybe you want to transfer the domain to another internet service provider. So you're not always going to be tied down to Safaricom. If you want to shift in the future, you can also migrate to a different company as well. If you also want to upgrade your hosting, maybe your size, as I said, maybe it's too small and you want to increase it, you can actually increase it even before it becomes full. So this is actually where you can come and you can sort out different issues. So for instance, if you want to maybe you're not receiving emails, you'll simply come in and you'll say, I'm not receiving emails. And you can come down here into the message and then put your explanation. Maybe I'm not receiving emails on my email address or on my info@yourcompany.com. So you put in your email and that's it. And then from there, put in this little code here again, and then submit your issue that you have. And from there, they'll be able to reply back and answer back any issues you have and also sort out any issues on the server as well. So basically, this is how you deal with registering your domain and setting up everything. Good. So I hope that answers most of your questions about how you can actually register your domain with Safaricom. It's a very simple and very straightforward process. And once again, the reason you want to do this part yourself is because you want to have ownership and control over your own domain and hosting as well. And if you don't have that control, you could easily be in a lot of trouble because somebody could disappear with the website next year or disappear with your domain. So you always want to make sure that you have access to your domain and your hosting as well. So I hope this helps. If you have any other questions, watch more of the videos on our channels. They'll be able to answer a lot more questions that you might have as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.